Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for your opening remarks. There was one thing that jumped off the page at me, and it was your brief discussion on wages and benefits. Looking at any department summary, the top line is always salaries and benefits. That's every department's biggest expense and our biggest concern. Benefits and pension plans throughout the world are a huge, huge problem. They are causing companies in Canada to close or move. They are bankrupting cities. They are bankrupting European countries. And yet the powers that be don't recognize this. You have said, Mr. Mayor, that the arbitration system is broken and must be fixed by the provincial government. I'm wondering, has the arbitration system ever not been broken? Or is it just getting worse and worse? I wonder if you could comment just very briefly on how you would expect it to be fixed. That's a huge question, I'm sure, but just a comment, please.
Well, if I had the answer, I would certainly offer it to the ministers, but each time I have gone to Roma and AMO, February and August, I've spoken to the Minister of Labour, who is undertaking a review of the arbitration system right now, and they're struggling with it because arbitration, basically two sides have differing views, and someone sits in the middle and says, okay, I've heard your views, here's what it's going to be. And the biggest argument that is being put forward by the employer, us, is you don't take into consideration our ability to pay. And so you get some smaller communities who, in their group of employees who have arbitration because they're declared essential, are getting results, and the results are lagging. You'll probably, like we have, got a result this year or late last year, and we're already back in arbitration again for the next round. So it's not a speedy process, number one. And number two, it does not take into account the ability for us to pay. And basically what happens is, much like assessment of your property, they'll look at 12 other properties and say, oh, here's what yours is worth, type of thing. And they'll do the same, well, here's what all these other groups got, so here's what we're going to give to this group. And I think if they focus on those issues, there may be some inroads made to making it better. Will it ever be the best? Will there always be discussion about who got the better of the discussion? Always, for sure. But arbitration fundamentally is put in place because those folks are essential and do not have the right to withhold their services. It's as simple as that. There are definitions as to what is essential, and I'm not sure that we have a lot of control over that as well. Again, the province has made it quite clear as to what things fundamentally are essential. We have some discretion, I'm sure, but not a lot. That's all I can tell you, County Manager.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just the opportunity to add that hopefully we'll see arbitrators' field of vision widened as well. When you look at police or paramedics or perhaps certain health service workers who don't have the right to strike, that would, a dispute would go to arbitration. Hopefully arbitrators will start to look at what settlements are reached in the rest of the public sector. So when public sector employees generally are getting 1%, 1.2, 1.5% annually, that in fact arbitrators are not simply looking at the fact that someone, to avoid going to arbitration, has given their emergency services people 3 or 4% and latch onto that. Hopefully they'll be more influenced by the fact that there really shouldn't be a justification for certain classes of municipal employees getting twice or more or 3 times what levels of settlements or awards are occurring in other areas of the public sector. And so for example, it's fine for the head of the OPP Police Association to say, well, we had 0 and 0, we're getting 8.5. That's not unreasonable, but at 8.55% over 3 years, they're still getting probably at least twice the amount or more than what municipal sector employees are typically getting, which have been 1.25 or 1.5% per year over that same 3-year period.
You're welcome. And I forget who made the comment earlier, but it was about benefits as well. And certainly we've seen when the benefit package comes before us and we look at it and, oh my goodness gracious, you know, OMERS, where's Candy? There she is. OMERS went up tremendously over the last few years, and so we've had to pay that. That's not anything we've discussed and negotiated or anything. That's dictated to us because the OMERS Board of Directors made their investments and the economy went a bit sour, and so they've had to make up the shortfalls. Go ahead.
Thank you. If I could just add on a personal note, I own a small business, not a whole lot of employees, but like small business is the backbone of this country. They are by far the biggest employers. But every time they arbitrarily give another benefit to my employees, I hurt a little bit more. Okay, we don't have a holiday in February. Let's just make one up and call it Family Day. My employee stays home and gets paid for doing nothing. It's wrong. So we really got to, I wish government would really watch what they're doing and take into consideration the small business person or the employers. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Councillor, and Barbara and I